Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to this edition of SportsView on their media.tv. We're not trick-and-treating tonight, although with some of the discussions you might think we are, But anyway, there's a few teams who are trick-and-treating over the weekend. I can safely say they weren't where they should be. Anyway, good evening, Joe Waters.
Evening, Pat. Evening, Derwynne.
Hey, Joe. Hi, Pat.
Good evening, Derwynne, and great to have you along again, lads. Just press the red button on the right-hand side to subscribe to our channel. We'll be looking at soccer, rugby, Formula One briefly, golf, boxing, snooker, and whatever else we can get to. And I must start off, first of all, lads, if you don't mind, a bit of self-indulgence. Over the weekend, there was a county finals in our GA clubs. I haven't it on the list tonight, but we won't be discussing it. But the highest honour for anybody playing Gaelic games is obviously an All-Ireland or a provincial title. And the most important one is to win something with your club. And in Cork County over the weekend, the football final was played between Castlehaven from West Cork and Nemo Rangers from Cork City. The interesting thing about the Castlehaven, they won it. And Kathleen Cleary was at the match, and her 6 grandsons were involved with Castlehaven. I thought it was I heard it on the radio, and I thought it was a nice. It's on Twitter as well. Her 6 grandsons. Can you imagine it? And she was at the match. Connor, Damien, Rory, Jack, Cahill, and Michael. There's a unique record for her. Well done, Kathleen. Well done, lads. Anyway, now over the weekend, Spurs beat Crystal Palace on the Friday night. 2-1, we know that. Brentford, Arsenal, Bournemouth, Everton, Villa, and Liverpool all won, and Man City, of course, won as well. Now, the Old Firm derby between Man City and Man United was on over the weekend in Old Trafford, and just poignant enough because there was a tribute to Bobby Charlton, probably one of the greatest English footballers that ever put on a pair of boots, in my opinion, anyway, And he could score with either left or right, but it did not inspire Man United, even though they're playing at home with that thing. It did not inspire them. I saw most of the match, and really, they were very poor. Joe, did you see the match?
I did, yeah. I just think that they really are poor. And I don't know where really they're going to go from here. It seems like the signings that they're making seem to be kind of haphazard, to say the least. I mean, the back four that they had playing at the weekend, right, is Dallow playing right back, Johnny Evans, Maguire, and Lindelof. So you have three centre halves playing in the match. The 2 centre backs, Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans, were the starting centre backs for Leicester City 6 or 7 years ago, and now they're playing for Man United as the starting centre backs.
Leicester City are top of the championship. They're moving on the way. But I'll just play this clip, lads, for you, a bit of it, and see what you think of it.
The bigger problem I'd have with Eric Ten Hag than the other managers is that when you had sort of Jose and Louis van Gaal, they still played their way, but the supporters didn't like it. It wasn't Manchester United's way. Ollie came in, obviously wasn't a top-level manager. This guy's coming from Ajax, and because of that football club, you'd automatically associate that with playing a certain style of football. You can see those repeated patterns throughout a game. That's the bigger worry for me, because of Eric Ten Hag and what his past has been, that the performances are as bad as they are. I mean, it's really shocking when you sort of see them trying to build up from the back, play through midfield, and you see the other top teams do that. They're a million miles away from it.
There was a time a few years ago where I thought, to be fair, there were some pretty poor characters in the dressing room that were here for basically the paycheck and just using the club. I don't think we've got that in this changing room at all, to be honest with you, at Manchester United. The sad thing is about this group is I think actually probably they're really good lads who want to do well. But when I see videos of McTominay on social media about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and fans are accusing him of not running back, that's just the weight of the world on his shoulders. That's not a lack of effort. That I know you disagree with me on this, Roy. But honestly, when you were in a sort of heavy-legged world, the world's on your shoulders, the pressure of the club and the scale of it. That's what I think these players are suffering from, not through any lack of effort or desire.
That's part of the package, Gary. That's part of the package. Listen, we got stick when we played for Man United. Your memory plays tricks in you. We used to get stick and we were winning stuff. So that's part of the package of playing for Man United. That courage, that bravery, wanting the ball when you don't want it. I didn't see that. I'm not saying these are a bad group of players, but don't go down the road. They're all great lads either. You love that one as well. Everyone's a great lad. But what we saw today in the second half, we're talking about even when United were getting pulled all over the place. I'm still looking for one or two senior players to start pulling people back in. Maguire at the back, Johnny Evans, the two centre-halves, for example, two experienced players, played hundreds and hundreds of games, experienced international players. So when United were getting run ragged, even for the second, just sit in. I don't understand that bit where you just go and get lads in and go, listen, for the next 5-10 minutes, we need to sit in. United they sat in pretty well in the first half, where they're pretty solid. OK, they weren't really a threat going forward. But where's that experience from these so-called characters of these experienced players?
They sat in the first half, and it looks like Erik ten Hag's gone in at half-time and thought the way forward in this match was to be more attacking and go for it a little bit.
Well, he gambled too early.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody in the stadium thought that was the right thing to do. The thing to do was to stay in the game at 1-0, probably with 15 minutes to go, 10 minutes to go, and then maybe have a little pop at them like they did last year. They scored in the 78th minute last year, in the 82nd minute. So I think, for me, he went too early, opened his midfield up and then got exposed. And at half-time, when I saw that substitution, I thought, is he injured, Amrabat? I'm sort of like, he must be injured because he can't come off. He wasn't brilliant first half, don't get me wrong, but him in there potentially alongside McTominay, with maybe Bruno coming off the wing into the midfield, that would have been still as solid, and I thought it still would have been okay.
Anyway, that was a bit of the discussion there, because there was two Man United ex-players there on it, but they made a few salient points there. I mean, really, they made a good point about Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire being very experienced players. I don't know what the answer is. Because, well, first of all, Bruno Fernandes is very poor. And if you're very poor and you're the captain, it affects the team as well. Derwynne, what do you think of their performance? What do you think?
Well, I can't believe that Man United have got Johnny Evans playing. They've still got Phil Jones on the staff. I mean, I cannot believe that Man United can't play better or find players that can play better than what was on that pitch yesterday, because they were shocking yesterday. Rashford looks like he just doesn't care. He's not in the game. He's not getting fed any balls. He's just running around. Fernandes just doesn't stop moaning. The sooner the 10 yards forward or something, because it's and as for Anthony, what that was all about at the end of a game where you know you've lost, why are you getting all stroppy and leery and everything? Like he went out to kick that lad, didn't he?
Yes.
And you're sitting there, you're watching it, and like, I'm not sure I'm Man United mad, and you sit there and just go, this is getting embarrassing now. I mean, they don't even look like they've got a chance again.
They have 15 points out of 30. They have 15 points.
They've lost 5 games out of 10.
Yeah.
They've lost 5 games out of 10 in the Premier League, 4 of which are at home.
That's true. Top of the league at the moment is Spurs. Yeah.
I listened to the whole of that thing afterwards with Keane and everybody after the game that you've just shown a clip from. And, Gary Neville, bless him. He can't slag off Man United, can he? It's not in his nature to do it. He's just... But...
Well, he's not an honest punter.
No, but he's saying the players are suffering from what's going on in the ownership and everything else. Joe, you've played professional football. You can't be telling me that you were worried about how the club was being run on a daily basis when you played for Leicester or Grimsby.
No, No, that was never never a part of our our consciousness and what have you. All we cared about was training and games and
Yeah.
how we could be successful in games. And I think what Roy's talking about there is, what blows me away is that you've got experienced players in Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire and Lindelof. I mean, 3 experienced international players that cannot get the guys in front of them organized.
Yeah.
If you're, it's like the lads are saying. I was captain of Grimsby for 8 years when we went from the 4th division to the brink of the 1st division, and as a captain, I was the team leader. I had to make decisions on the field that I had to answer to the manager for afterwards, because in the flow of the game, I would see things that were happening and I had to change. And if I felt that we were going to be under the collar, then I pulled a couple of guys back and we sat in to weather the storm until we could get ourselves back together and get back into the game again. And I don't see that happening at United. I mean, for a start, they've got a captain that we've talked about before that's not a leader. He does not. He really, in my opinion, only cares about himself.
He's only a bit player.
I mean, he's a selfish player. It has to be going his way or he's not happy with it. And, that just, if that's your leadership on the field, then you're in serious trouble. The person that's leading the team has got to be the one that's working the hardest.
No, obviously,
trying to do the most.
Yeah, and that's a fair point, Joe. And I was watching the Liverpool match as well, and they won well. And it's very, we must say that the situation with Luis Diaz is very sad, and I hope it works out for him. He's gone back to Colombia. His mum is okay. His dad is still missing. His mum and dad were kidnapped. And I hope the latest news is positive enough. Anyway, Liverpool, well, top of the league is Spurs with 26 points, Arsenal 24, Man City with 24, and Liverpool with 23, and Man United with 15. And of course, my team couldn't hack it either over the weekend. Luton Town, they got beaten by a very good Aston Villa team, I must admit. In the Championship, we have Leicester City on 39 points, Ipswich Town on 34, Leeds on 25, 3 traditional teams, and Southampton on 24, and Cardiff on 23. So it's Leicester, Ipswich, and Leeds. Imagine the 3 of them coming up next season to be just fantastic altogether, in my opinion. It'd be great.
It would be. I mean, it would be to see them come up. I watched all 3 of those games over the weekend, and I mean, good teams. I watched Leeds against Huddersfield. Now, to be fair, Huddersfield didn't look like they had much. They're back. I mean, Leeds blew by their back players so many times. It was, you wondered yourself, how can guys be playing at that level when they're getting blown by that easily? But Leeds looked very good. They scored some good goals. Ipswich against Plymouth was a good goal, a good game. That was a terrific game. The last game was a good game.
Leicester were playing away tomorrow. Yeah, they were playing away
at QPR. So
QPR, yeah.
I had a cameo in the QPR program at the weekend.
You had?
Yeah, they were revisiting my debut in the program.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, somebody sent me the picture of it.
Derwynne, can you hop up to Loftus Road tomorrow and get us a few programs, spare programs?
There'll be none left. I bought them
all. They're all gone, aren't they?
Yeah, I put in a big order right afterwards. So.
In League 2, Stockport County are top with 35. Notts County are on 30, and Wrexham are on 30 in League 2. So Grimsby are just. I think Grimsby are down at 21 points, as far as I know. Or 21 points.
Well, Grimsby just sacked their manager as well.
Did they?
Yeah, they did.
I didn't catch that up. Yeah. They
Yeah.
had a few poor results and they had a few poor games. So I think they have the way with all up because you're here to get up the table.
Hey Joe, is any inside information in case you're making a return? We can get a bet on before anybody goes public.
No chance of that one.
Yeah.
I threw away the phone so they can't get in touch with me.
But what about the Premiership? Can Spurs win it, Joe?
To be honest, I mean, let's be honest. Anything can happen after what Leicester did in 2015. So if it can keep going, I mean, right now Spurs seem to be getting the rub of the green with everything that's going on, and it really sometimes doesn't take much to derail that kind of an effort. But they've got very, I mean, the manager is very, he's very pragmatic in what he does. He knows what it is. He knows that, if you're still, you wait till April, May to see what the table is like, because there's too many teams behind them. When you look at the likes of City, Liverpool, Arsenal, making a go of it, they're very good teams. So it would mean, and Spurs really, I think it's fantastic to watch them. They play terrific football, but I really don't think they have a squad depth that if they run into a couple of injuries, they're going to be able to pull it off. I think if Maddison or Son goes down injured, then they're going to be in a little bit of trouble, I think. But it's great to see it. It's great to see a different team come up.
It's been a long time since Spurs won the league. Derwynne, do you think they have a chance, an outside chance?
No. I think you've got Arsenal, City,
Liverpool.
City, or Liverpool.
Yes. Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree.
It's like Joe just
and
said.
don't forget Villa there. I mean, you were talking about Villa there. Villa are a very solid team.
They're a good team.
I've watched them. Yeah, I've watched them now for a few games, and they are just getting better and better.
Our man Ferguson scored for Brighton as well over the weekend in their draw. So
and of course, Brighton are there as well. Brighton can beat people. I mean, they can come and bite you. So it's it's great to see the depth of how competitive it is right now. And you take two of the biggest teams in the league that are not even in the frame for it, Chelsea and Man United.
Chelsea were beaten again by
they were beaten by Brentford. Yeah,
that's right. And Brentford are well organised. We spoke about it here several times. They're well organised.
They're a very well coached team. Very well coached team. They play to their strengths.
I don't know if you boys saw the Chelsea game.
No.
Yeah.
But Cole Palmer, what a player that kid is. Cole Palmer, what a player.
The kid that came from City.
Yeah, they got Jackson up the front, who I don't know if you get the chance to see match of the day, but Shearer and Lineker went, and Ian Wright, to be fair, went about Jackson, about not running into space, and there's a clip. It's worth watching, Joe. There's a clip where Cole Palmer is basically chewing his arse off about not running into space.
Yes.
And last week, they had Palmer playing up the front, and they looked really threatening.
Well, there you go.
Palmer is the kid they got from City, right? That they signed from City?
Yeah.
Did you see him last week when he took the ball off of Sterling for the penalty?
Yeah.
He's fighting a seasoned international for the ball to take a penalty. And he's 19 or 21 or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's not. And there's another question for you. How does United miss a player like that?
Well, the clubs are. Do they still employ coaches like in the old days, or am I way out of date?
No, they have.
Scouts. I mean.
Oh, they have scouts. I mean, well, a lot of it is done by agents nowadays. So, I mean,
the curse of soccer, like
yeah,
VAR. Agents and VAR should be consigned to the skip.
Oh, don't get me on VAR. Did you see that nonsense? Did you see the nonsense? 5.5 minutes to make the decision. On VAR.
Was that the offside one?
We're speaking about
they drew the lines in the wrong place. Yeah.
Which incident was that? There's been so many.
If that was a company, you'd sack the guy, wouldn't you? You
would. SportsView is the program on nearmedia.tv. Don't forget to press the red button on the right-hand side to subscribe to our channel. And we're here every Monday night, Joe, Derwynne, and myself. And anybody else who wants to join in, welcome along. Rugby Union, the Rugby World Cup is over, done and dusted. I watched it. We had a crowd watch it. I think that these are my own opinion of the World Cup final. It was a very poor match. The referee, Wayne Barnes, destroyed the World Cup final, in my opinion. I think he was a disgrace myself, Barnes. And it wasn't the first match he was a disgrace in the World Cup. Imagine the All Blacks had a penalty. They played on. It wasn't called for them. And they scored a try. The try was scratched off. They were brought back by Barnes to take the penalty. I mean, what rule was he invoking at that instant? I don't know. Did you see it, Derwynne? Did you see the final?
Yeah, I don't really know what to say about the final, really, because I think New Zealand didn't really perform as well as they can in the first half.
14, they had 14 players, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I understand about the head injuries, and I understand that, but that
it's not
to me,
but it's not consistent. It's not consistent.
No, but it didn't look like he targeted the guy. It looked like a genuine rugby incident. A game.
Yeah, there's no common sense. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because we watched the game last week. One of the games last week, and you overheard the referee making a comment to one of the teams that had a similar incident, that there was head contact, and the referee says not every head contact is a foul. He said some of it is incidental. No. Sometimes it's incidental, and that's where players have to, or referees have to make a call on it and what have you. So I mean, it's so difficult to know whether it's intentional that they're doing it, or it just happened.
You don't know. You can never know whether it's intentional, because nobody would know that except the players themselves. But the referee got sent off because referees, huh?
He got sent off because he was straight in the tackle, so as in standing up straight in a tackle rather than being bent over.
True, and they were down to 14 players. I mean, for the rest of the match.
Surely you stop any way you can.
There was just 2 South Africans tackled on the head in the match, and they got no red card. But that's not surprising with Barnes, because I think he got enough money to do a decent job to referee the match, the final. But it destroyed it as a spectacle for me anyway, But we must admit, I'll admit, South Africa are worthy winners for the 4th time in the World Cup. England kept the flag flying for this side of the world, and they finished up in third place. Very important for seedings and all of that for the next World Cup. They beat Argentina 26-23, and I thought Courtney Laws and some of those players were outstanding. You know, we won't see them again at the World Cup, some of them, but it's a pity. They were very good. Do you see that match at all Friday night? Anyone we know?
No, I didn't see it. I didn't see that one.
Yeah,
but you know,
I watched it.
Yeah,
it was a good game.
It says a lot,
go,
though. It says a lot about where rugby is at the moment, though. Again, when you know, two teams from the other side are in the final again. You know, and our best. I mean, the two best that we had, both France and Ireland, weren't able to pull it off. No, well, I mean it's great. It's great that we beat South Africa in the round robin kind of thing.
When it didn't matter.
That's exactly like we said. You know, you don't win World Cups in the group stages. All you're trying to do is get out of it. And when the rubber hits the road is when you have to be ready for it. And both of those countries always seem to find a way to win.
That is very true. And I saw today that Andy Farrell has got Coach of the Year, Rugby Coach of the Year from World Rugby. I don't know why that is, because Ireland made no progress in the World Cup. They were still beaten in the quarterfinal. They've never progressed further than the quarterfinal. I thought it was a joke first when I was reading it. I think it's a bit silly when you look at the coaching staff of South Africa, for instance, even the coaching staff of New Zealand, to give it to Andy Farrell. I don't know. I'm not begrudging it to him or anything. I'm just saying it was a strange decision. Now I know five. Yeah, go on, Joe.
To be honest, though, I mean, he's done a fantastic job with the Irish team. I mean, just because we weren't successful at the World Cup doesn't mean he hasn't done a great job. He really has. You know, I mean, South Africa.
All those guys get well paid for it, so that's their job. But I'm just saying that.
But I mean, they're all the same. I mean, if we're going to say our guys are well paid, then we have to say the other guys are well paid as well.
True, Joe. But the management of the Irish rugby team hasn't been called out in the press here. There's a strange reticence when it comes to that. I mean, the management of the Irish rugby team were badly cut out in the quarterfinal. They played an injured player on the wing, Matt Hansen, who was clearly injured against the All Blacks. They played Johnny Sexton. Who was?
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt, that's a poor decision. I mean, and it's a chance that you take, but I mean, do you take a chance in the quarterfinal of the Rugby World Cup
against the All Blacks? First of all, you want all your players fit.
Yes, you do.
I mean, really and true, and that was down that wing. The damage was done. If people look back at the match, but anyway, I mean, the All Blacks hadn't fools like the coaching staff. We were destroyed in the lineouts. We were destroyed in the scrum, and Johnny Sexton was appalling. Should have been taken off at half time. But I mean, this idea of keeping on a player because he's done it all. Really, how many teams have done that and paid the price? But we paid the price for those obviously bad mistakes. But there has been no discussion in the media here in Ireland about it. Anyway, I'm not an expert. I want to give you my opinion. I want to give you an opinion what I saw happening. But all in all, it was a good World Cup. I think Portugal has made the case for, in my opinion, they were my team of the tournament, Portugal. Very refreshing approach to the game of rugby and fantastic attitude to it as well. And I think they made the case for promotion and relegation in the Six Nations from the second tier to the first tier, to have those teams to improve. That's only my opinion for what it's worth, but I think to be worth looking at anyway, you know.
But aren't they looking at now, with the way the World Cup turned out, looking at having kind of two different kind of divisions, 2 divisions of 12 of the top tier nations, and then the 12
second
tier nations,
and
having two levels of World Cup.
But Derwynne, is Bill Bowman the chairman of the International Rugby Board, is he? I think
Yeah,
he
he
is.
is. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
World Rugby or whatever it is.
I think Bill Bowman should be making the
But
case for the European Tier 1, Tier 2.
I think if you looked at all of what's gone on in the Rugby World Cup, the one
Yeah.
country that you probably say that really need to have a good hard look at themselves is going to be Australia.
Yeah.
Well, Eddie Jones has stepped down, but I mean, that's not a shock. I mean, I think it's obvious to anyone who follows rugby.
He's back to Japan now, isn't he? But
yeah, I think he's going back to Japan. I think that's where he's going, and I think to be good for him as well. I still think he's a good coach. That's my opinion only. I still think he is. Australia must remember Eddie Jones introduced an awful lot of young players to that Australian team that were knocked out in the group stages as well. So I mean, they have to look down the road to 4 years' time as well, you know. But
you think, I mean, Australia. All right, Australia. Rugby and cricket are their two national sports, really, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they were poor. Australia were bad.
They were poor, very poor at times. They were.
But I mean, is it just the quality of the players that you've got? I mean, I really don't care, what people think about, but a coach can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear.
No.
And if you don't have the quality of players, I don't care how good a coach you are not going to be successful with it.
Sure.
So you have a decision to make. The big thing for Australia is, like you said there, Pat, a few minutes ago, we talked about it before. He blooded a lot of young players, and they've got some good young ones coming through. But Australia has a real habit of doing well in their own backyard. The last time the World Cup was there, I think they won it. When the World Cup cricket was there, I think they won it. And the Australian women got to the semi-final of the Women's World Cup that was down there.
Didn't England do them in?
Yeah. So, when Australians playing in Australia are a totally different kettle of fish than they are anywhere else.
I was just going to say something really, I think it's interesting. If you think of the emerging teams, your Fijis, your Argentinas, your Portugals, they've actually got players playing in the Premier League over here.
They have?
And you haven't got that many Australians playing
outside their country. But professional club rugby in Australia would mitigate against that because they can make a decent living in their own country. That's why you don't get huge movement of Australians. I mean, of course, everyone of us remembers David Campese. He broke our hearts in Lansdowne Road. Do you remember that, Joe?
Yeah.
The fecker. Yeah, he broke our hearts in 87.
But it's even the Italian players are playing over here in Europe.
They are. But the United Rugby Championship was on over the weekend as well. And it seems to take. I think there's more importance to it this year than anything else because there's serious placings for the European Cup this time around in the United Rugby Championship. Munster drew 13-all, and Connacht beat Glasgow. That was a surprise result because Glasgow are one of the fancy teams at 34-26. Leinster beat the Sharks 34-3, and Ulster beat the Bulls 26-19. Jacob Stockdale got a cracking try. I saw highlights of that, which brings us on nicely to Formula One. Well, lads, did anyone of you see the Mexican Grand Prix or even the highlights?
No, I did not.
Well, guess who won? You have no idea, Joe, have you?
I'd say he might be a Dutchman.
Verstappen. I have down here Verstappen wins a shambolic Grand Prix in Mexico from Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc. And so that's their 18th win out of 19. That's Red Bull. But the race was I don't think it's antiseptic now, I'd call it, the Formula One, because if you pass another car and one of your wheels is off the track, it seems to me, you'll be given a 10-second penalty. So you shouldn't pass people. I don't get it. I just don't. I give up on it anyway. That was Formula One. Go on.
The only good thing I'd say about the Mexican Grand Prix is how good are those cars for safety wise? Because that crash was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was. This is the most exciting part of the
just get up out. Yeah, for him to get up out of the cockpit, which was basically the only thing that was left on the car, really, and walk away, is a testament to the safety features of Formula One, I guess.
There's no doubt about that, and I 100% agree with you there. It is very safe for drivers. I'm thinking of taking it up myself, but I know is there any. Anyway,
I know I wouldn't be getting into one of them cars
anyway.
I'd be so claustrophobic in those things.
What?
I said, Joe, Pat might be able to get in, but I don't think he'll get back out.
Yeah,
no, I wouldn't mind that once I get to the finish line. But we just look at golf briefly. The Qatar Masters went over the weekend, and the golfer from Finland won it. Val Macari, yeah, -18. He won it in a playoff against Jorge Campillo from Spain, who already won the Qatar Masters. Was it last year or the year before? 3 67s and a 69 he shot for his what I have it down here. Oh yeah, and he won $600,000 for it. So it was a nice little paycheck for him. The Zozo Championship was played over the weekend, and Colin Morikawa won it at -14. And the Maybank Golf Challenge in Kuala Lumpur, the ladies, Celine Boutier, she's absolutely has a phenomenal year in the ladies golf. She won in the playoff on -21, 70, 64, 69, and 64. Our own Leona Maguire was playing in that. She finished at -8 down the field, but I think she won $40,000 or $50,000 for her thing. But what I want to get onto is the Aramco in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, another ladies' European event. Alison Lee won that. Wait for it. There's only 3 rounds. Alison Lee, she won it at -29. Derwynne, there you go now. -29. She had 61, 61, and a 65. I'm laughing at the scoring. It's just. Did anyone of you see that joke of a fight Saturday night with Fury and that?
65.
No, yeah. Yes, she nearly lost it, but anyway,
yeah.
In boxing, Tyson Fury. Well, we know it was a glorified exhibition in Saudi Arabia, and he didn't look fit. He didn't look sharp. He looked every bit being out of the ring for 2 years. I'm talking about Tyson Fury. Ngannou he was a UFC fighter. The fella he was fighting, the big, huge guy, the same size as himself, had a bit of skill, but there was a half a slip, a half a knockdown in one of the rounds. He was counted anyway. Fury got a count of 8, which meant that round people are confused about the scoring in boxing. A lot of people are by the comments today. I watched the whole fight. I actually watched it twice for my sins, and I had Fury winning at the end of the 10 rounds on points, because if you throw a punch at a person and you hit him with your arm on the side of the head, that's not counted. You don't get a point for that. You must hit him with the full of the glove. They're the counting punches. If you count up all those punches from Fury in all the rounds, and again are the same, he had a couple of wild swings, but he hit nothing only himself. So, I mean, really, I wasn't surprised at the decision to Fury. You know, if the three judges now there was, he won it in a split decision. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It won't matter in the grand scheme of things. He's fighting Usyk next, which anyway, I don't know what. Did you see the Fury fight at all, Joe?
I didn't say it. I read about most of it.
Yeah.
Read about it and what have you. And
That's-
it's just one of those things, you know. I mean, it's like you're saying. I mean, he didn't. There's no way he took it seriously. He didn't think there was going to be any issue with it.
No.
What have you. So, you know,
No.
but it just goes to show you, you know. I mean, it. If that fella connected a little bit more with that punch, it could have been all over, you know. So that's how close.
Yeah, Fury knows himself, and it was nice to see Andy Lee. Andy Lee is related to Fury. He's Andy Lee is from Limerick, you know. Andy Lee was in Fury's corner, and they were concerned enough halfway through the fight. But anyway, an awful lot of people paid an awful lot of money to see it, which is the name of the game. And Judd Trump is continuing his good year in snooker. He won the Northern Ireland Open against Chris Wakelin. There's a name to conjure with Chris Wakelin. Be a good outside bet for the championship, but there you are, he won at 9-3. And in the Cricket World Cup, have you been following it, Derwynne, at all?
I have,
the Cricket
yeah.
World Cup? Yeah. It looks
I can't get my head around Afghanistan. How good they are.
It looks like who? India?
Afghanistan.
India, oh yeah. South Africa, New Zealand, and Australia are on course for the last four. There's different permutations you could suggest. You can pick up the news yourselves, but I got blind from reading all the different. They have 2 or 3 matches left each, so that those things could change. But they are the 4 topping the thing as well. England are bottom, but they have 3 games left, and they could get into the top 4 easily. They said not easily, but there's a possibility as well. So nobody is out of it completely. That's what I'm trying to say. The scoring and the stuff, you know. So even if you're on 8 points as they are, they can still get into the top 4. But
so the joke over here at the moment is Afghanistan is actually the Pakistan reserve team.
oh yeah, oh I see. They could be.
Yeah, I mean, most of them are on the other side of the border.
Oh,
oh, I see. Yeah, so we have that
versus Sri Lanka.
We'd be well used to that in Ireland with the rugby team, you know. But 5 Irish players made it into the team of the World Cup as well. And Joe, locally in Limerick in the soccer, I was at a soccer match yesterday morning for my son was playing, but as the man said, they lost in the odd goal in 7, and there'll be enough said about the match now. But it was tough going, the pitch, the conditions. Oh, well, I saw better conditions at the Grand National. But anyway, in Limerick, in junior soccer, in the Premiership in Limerick, Ashling and Akati are top after 9 years with 22 points. Pike Rovers are in second place after playing 7 games. They have 19 points. Ballinanty are in third after 8 games with 16 points. Fairview Rangers the same, 8 games, 16 points, and Regional 8 games, 16 points. So for people who say I never give them a mention, there they are now. Newmarket Celtic, who were the first team from Clare to win the Junior Cup last year, won the President's Cup over the weekend in Dublin. They won it in a penalty shootout, all square after full time, and that's phenomenal for them, you know. And celebrations are still going on up there. There you are. Now, what was I going to say? Getting back to soccer, we could discuss a thing to death about soccer, about the Premiership, but a big club like Man United are in serious trouble.
well, I mean, they are. Did you watch the Champions League match during the week against the Danish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
FC Copenhagen, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, how lucky were they to escape with a win right there? I mean, that was it. That to me was an absolute joke. How easy it was for Copenhagen to get from their end of the field down to United's end of the field, with United defending a 1-0 lead, and they went through them like a hot knife through butter. I mean, it was an absolute, and then the panic that was in the box when the corner kick came in.
But in that clip there, it is much longer now. I cut it off the clip we had on there. Roy Keane was making the point. When you went, or Derwynne, you'd know this about Man United. You know what you were going to get under a certain manager, what style of a game, what style of team are going playing, You know that when Ronaldo was with him, everything went to him, he's going to score. When Solskjaer was with him, bang, bang. The object was to get him on 1-1 and bang. But now today, what is their style today? I don't know what it is.
Well, I read an
I don't think
article.
anybody knows that.
Well, I read an article that they were talking about, and they were talking about the manager and how he played at Ajax when he was there, and the way that they played, and why can't United play like that? And his comment was, they've built the United team to be a direct attacking team, because at Ajax, the playing out the back and the total football was in their DNA. At United, they don't have players like that. So he said, we have to go another way about it. And I mean, that is fair enough, if that's what he's trying to do. But at a club like United, you have got to play a certain way and win a certain way, or the fans won't accept it. I mean, that's why Dave Sexton, in the finish, in spite of finishing second in the league, eventually ended up getting fired because his teams played boring football, boring defensive football, and United won't stand for that. That's not their DNA.
There are two suggestions in one of the media and one of the online podcasts I was looking at, that there's a manager knocking around at the moment with no job. He might be able to do a stopgap job on United, and that's Potter. That was with Brighton.
Yeah. But I mean, again, you look at, I think Graham Potter's a good manager. I thought he did a fine job at Brighton. To be honest, I think at Chelsea he was not given an opportunity. I think that there was too much interference from above. The squad that he had was unwieldy. I mean, you cannot have 30-odd players in a first-team squad. No. You just cannot. It's not. I mean, having 25 players is a job itself.
Yeah.
So trying to manage them, or 23 or whatever it is.
You're right. He didn't get long enough there.
No, he didn't, and they didn't give him the support by getting rid of some of the players that needed to be moved on. And this is the problem that you have when you have a bit like United, when you have players on good contracts. They're playing for Man United. They don't want to go anywhere else.
Did you see again Derwynne changing to the small ball, where Nick Faldo was mouthing off again on Golf Digest over the live golf? Did you
I didn't see what he had to say.
Yeah,
and someone who
I just think. Go on.
Someone who played with Nick Faldo said, "Well, the reason you didn't play in some two competitions is because they wouldn't give you enough appearance money. So you said to me, Nick, if you were of the age you were still playing, that you wouldn't be tempted to go to live golf." I know I should have got the quote exactly, but he was. I don't know.
That's true. Know. I mean,
yeah.
I just don't. I can't see why they can't all just sit around the table and sort this out, because they're all doing it. McIlroy's doing it. Justin Thomas is doing it. Jordan Spieth is doing it. They only play in certain events who are paying them certain amounts of money.
That's it. That's
And yet
it.
the live guys have basically gone public on it, on what we do.
It's open.
Yet
Open.
the PGA Tour are keeping it behind closed doors about what goes on. Woods was getting $1 million to play in an event. When he was at his peak, he was getting $1 million appearance money and all his expenses. And that was all his expenses plus all his gang, his entourage, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And he only picked up and played in the Buick because he was getting $1 million. He didn't play in the one in Reno because they couldn't afford to pay him $1 million. So he didn't play. And all you've got this behind closed doors appearance money. And live guys have been upfront about it, that they're getting paid the appearance money. And I don't believe for 1 minute that any of these US Tour players, when they start to take the slide and start not quite performing, will not go across the live for that money.
But if Live Golf, they have probably 8 or 9 of the top 20 players in their books, right? Live Golf.
But all these organisations, Pat, are ganging up to stop them playing. You know, you're talking about now that somehow some pressure's been put onto the USGA and the RNA, and they're now saying about if they're not through any kind of exemption system, i.e., you've won the Open, all right, some of them will be okay. They've won the Open, so they'll always be teeing it up until they're 65. Get that? But then if you tell me that Taylor Gooch can't get in, can't get into the Open automatically, that's a joke.
Yeah. Or Brooks Koepka.
No, he's. I think Koepka's. Has he won an Open? He's won US.
He's won
Open,
major,
I don't know if he's won an Open.
He's won the PGA, hasn't he?
I thought
they were saying that the PGA isn't serious. They were saying that the PGA is in serious decline, you know, and that the sponsors are
the USPGA
going.
is. That's the one major that would be in trouble.
Yes, because sponsors will pull out if they don't have the top names competing in the thing, you know, and viewers figures on television. Yeah.
You've got Peter Dawson, who's basically a bit of a twisted, bitter old man because of being sort of elbowed out of the RNA.
Yeah.
Who's now running the World Order of Merit, whatever it is, the World Points system. He's now making decisions. Yeah. And he's making decisions now saying that live guys can't get points. And I just find it all a bit, it's like hypocritical, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's sad as well.
McIlroy does not play. McIlroy wasn't playing in Qatar, but he'll turn up in Dubai because they paid him $1 million.
Yeah. And I mean, he played in Saudi Arabia as well for money.
Yeah, and as much as I just think sometimes these guys got short memories.
They have, and I just hope because I love watching it. I hope to turn out okay. I think
it's like Pat. I've told you guys on this show before. Everybody I know who's been to a live golf event think it's just a great day out compared to going to a normal golf tournament.
Yeah, I agree with you. I've only been at the Irish Open here in our own country, and some of them have been poor as a day out. You know, some of them have been poor. You know, but you can't have the.
Everybody I know has just raved about the fact that they can park themselves on on the 4th green, for argument's sake, or the 5th tee, whatever.
Yeah.
And they see every single group. Whereas if you go to a normal event, you're there or crack of dawn all day long, and it's expensive. I mean, the Open this year at Hoylake, 15 quid for a really bad small portion of fish and chips. 15 quid.
15 quid, I'd bring my fishing rod and catch it myself. That was just shocking.
No, it's a pizza, a pizza at 12 quid, which, to be honest with you, if you went and bought the worst pizza in a shop and brought it home and cooked it in the oven, it'd still be better than what they were producing.
Oh God, yeah. I can imagine. And as a guy's getting a pint of beer, I suppose that was you'd want to get a loan from a bank in overdraft to buy a pint of beer at some of these events.
I think they were like something like £7.50 for a pint.
Man. And did they give you the straw with it?
It was like London prices, really. But I mean, what's the right way? I don't know what the right. I just get frustrated with it because, the guys on the PGA Tour, the top 12, probably top 20 on the PGA Tour in America are getting paid appearance money, and they don't talk about any of that.
They never discuss it on the Golf Channel because I watch the Golf Channel at night. I like the discussion. Some of them are quite good, Do you know what? On the Golf Channel, and I'm not a golfer, but I love watching the game. And I like the characters in it. But like most sports, the women that are on the Golf Channel to me make more sense than the men. If just the other way around, I'd probably be called sexist. But they're so good. They're so good at the game of understanding the game of golf. They're so good at communicating it to the listener, to the viewer. I don't even know their names. I should take a note of their names, But I love watching the ladies golf. I think it's honest. I'm not saying the male version is dishonest. I'm saying I like watching them. I saw the most of the Celine Boutier championship because Leona Maguire was playing it, but just terrific golf, terrific watching. That's just me,
She's that Boutier's had a great year, really, hasn't she? Because
she's had everything.
She did it. She was fantastic at the Ryder Cup, the Sohan Cup, wasn't she?
But before that, when I saw her playing in the Evian Championship, all her family were there at that, and obviously that was her. Really, she could have lost that easily, but she dug in, and I think that really gave her the impetus to go forward. It can happen. Most golfers and most professional sports people, you get that. Like Joe, I'm sure when you got your first goal professionally, you can relax now. I'm after scoring my goal. That's what it's something like that. And until Ten Hag stamps his complete authority on the team, until he's given a free hand at Man United or any manager after him, I think they're in for a rough few years, unfortunately,
I think the good news is that, he has the support from the people above.
Yeah, he has.
The director of football or whatever it is. But now, of course, it's the usual thing they're talking about, that if he gets knocked out of the European Cup, Champions League, in the next few weeks, that he's going to be gone after that and what have you. And I don't think he is. That you just can't keep turning over people like they've been turning people over.
Is Ferguson still on the board?
No, he's an ambassador now, isn't he, Derwynne? He doesn't.
Yeah.
I don't think he sits on the board anymore.
No.
But I mean, he's certainly influential in the club and what have you. But but I just think that they've just got to be like Liverpool were for a while there. They're going to have to take it on the chin for a little bit, and get it back to where it needs to be. You know, it just goes to show you how great, you know, Shankly and Paisley and those guys were at Liverpool, and how good Sir Matt and
By the way,
United.
did you get a copy of that? Did you get a copy of that brochure yet? That program?
Not yet, no.
Yeah.
Somebody sent me a picture of it on my on Facebook of the inside of the program.
Okay, guy. I'm going to pass the time because this is being used after me. So thank you, Derwynne and Joe, for a fantastic night again, lads. Thanks for taking time out. We're going to leave you with since we don't have the brochure, we're going to leave you with this.
Waters.